So guys, we eventually have our GoPrinter arrive, and now we need to actually sit down, unbox it, and let's see how it actually works. So let's open the box, let's get everything out, and then we can start talking. Okay, so that's everything out of the box. We no longer need the box. So let's now look at the printer. Okay, so what we've got here in front of us, our first thing we've got here is our printing guard. Then we've got our power supply that will charge the GoPrinter. We've got our ink cartridge. We've got our stylus that will be used on the screen. And then finally our GoPrinter. Okay, so the first thing we have here is our actual GoPrinter. Now, there is no cartridge in it yet. We have to still put that in. And our first thing that we need to do is make sure that this is actually charged, so that we either going to charge it now or we just use it straight. So we go to the back here and we're just going to switch it on. Cool. Now that we know that this is charged and it's got some power, we can actually start using it. So the very first thing we're going to do here is go ahead and peel this protective layer off. That was very satisfying. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and grab our stylus that was included so that we can actually use this without scratching the screen. Because your finger is the same size as some of these buttons, you know, it's just better use the stylus. Okay, so the first thing we need to have a look here, right, we've got our 4 different options here. Don't worry about the time and date, that can always be set. We're going to go ahead and click on edit to see what we have available. So now this allows you to go ahead and then type what you want, change a few things, delete it if you don't want it, or if you want to start off with your digits of 10, you just go ahead and push print. Obviously need to make sure that we have an ink cartridge in here, but we don't, so I'm just going to go to that X on the top there. Now that we're out of this, we need to now add our cartridge. Now, very, very important, like any other printer, make sure it's off before you go and plug in the cartridge. So we switch that off and we need to add it over here. So I'm just going to put this down just like so, and let's go ahead and grab our cartridge. So all we need to do is just find the tear tab that's over here in the corner, and we just tear it open. Okay, so as we can see here, just by actually feeling this is quite a decent weight for a cartridge. I must say this is not light and flimsy. And then the next thing is we're going to look over here where my finger, and it says dry adsorption surface. Now we did cover this in our previous video on the 2 different types of ink that are available. So this one is for any surface that doesn't absorb the ink. So it's not for cardboard, it's not for paper. You want to put this on metal, glass or plastic, or even wood, where it doesn't require the ink to absorb. This is adsorb, so it stays on top. Just so that you understand when you're buying your cartridges. So now that we know which cartridge this is, we now know what we can print on. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and just remove our plastic protective cover that you need to keep, so that when you are not using this cartridge, you're going to place it back over to protect the print head. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip it to this side here, and you've got a little plastic tab that all you need to do, and it just clicks back on. We'll do it again. You just need to place your thumb underneath and pull down on that tab, and there we go. Our cap is off. So now that you've taken that plastic cover off, we can now put it in our printer. Okay, so what we need to do is go ahead and pull this blue tab back all the way down. Once that is down, you're going to tilt your printer back and you're going to slide this in towards the front section so that you can see your print head. Right, so once you can see that, then all you need to do is push that down so that it's level, and then we push up our blue tab until it clicks in place. Now, if you can see that it's not going to click because I'm having an issue right now, just go ahead and look at the front of your GoPrinter and see whether or not that print head is lining up. Otherwise, what you need to do is push down from the top and the back, push it forward so that you can hear the click, and then you just go ahead and push it up. Now that our cartridge is in place and it's secure, we can now go back to switching our printer on. So we're going to do that, switch it on. And then we can go ahead back to our setting that we were on just now, which is edit. Okay, so what we want to do here while we're in edit is I just want to delete what I have here, and we're going to add something else in, and then we're just going to do a test. So let's go ahead and delete what we have. And then we go ahead and click on text. And then we can go and just do a simple test, or put words. So I'm just going to put in the letters AM, and we're going to go enter. And that enter actually means to skip a line. So just remember, you want to push confirm rather than enter. It's something you've got to get used to with this printer. You must make sure that you go for your green tick, not just enter. Okay, so now that I've got the words AM, okay, we can now just go ahead and push print. And for our test, either you're going to click on your trigger or you're going to push the play button here. So what we've got to do is click our trigger. We're going to line up our printer, and then before you go ahead and move it to the right, you've got to click the trigger again until you can hear a beep. Cool, now that we've heard a beep, we can now move our printer and print. Now, a very interesting feature about this is if you're wanting that backwards for some reason, click again, make sure you hear that beep, and just go backwards, and then there you go, it is backwards. Okay, so now that we have tested our cartridge and it prints successfully, we're going to move on to the next thing. Now, I just want to say that this is as good a time as any to say that you should subscribe and click the bell icon so that you can get notified on future videos, because we are going to, in a future video, go over the maintenance of this machine as well as how to do everything on the software. So look out for that video, but for now we're going to move on to our next thing. But before we do that, we need to make sure that whenever you're finished using your printer, you must switch it off and you must remove your cartridge and place it back into its protective case so that you don't damage your print nozzle and so that this lasts you longer. Okay, so now we're going to move over to our actual power supply for our GoPrinter. And this is quite simple. Just plug it into a 2-pin outlet on your wall, and then you plug it into the back of your printer. We'll quickly have a look here at our charging brick. Green means that it's charged and red means that it's still charging. Another awesome thing is if your battery is dead and you still need to charge it, but you still need to use it, you can still go ahead and use this GoPrinter while it's plugged into the wall. Now that we finished that, this brings us to our battery, which is very important. The battery is removable and replaceable if it somehow dies, overuse, or just age. And it is easy enough to get to. It's at the bottom of this handle. You just need to pull with a little bit of force to take off this panel, and there's your battery there. You can just take it out, unplug it, and plug a new one back in. It is a lithium battery, so it's quite easy to replace if it does die or just from old age. And all you need to do is just go ahead and order one from AM.CO.za and just go ahead, slide off this piece, unplug it and plug in your new one, and you're good to go. Now the last thing that we have here is our printing guide. Now this is merely so that you can go ahead and line it up where you want it exactly, so that you can put your printer here and print straight if you're having an issue with wobbling while going. And that's the last item that we have here. Now guys, I just wanted to say that this is merely just an unboxing video for our GoPrinter that has finally arrived. Now this is a very exciting printer and there's lots of features in this thing that I need to show you, and that's why you need to go ahead and click on that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you get notified on the next videos that will show you everything in depth on all the functions for this printer. So I'll see you in the next one.
AI may eventually take over, But what's for certain is that smart machines are already operating all over the world right now. So stay ahead with AM.CO.za. For 11 years, they've been the leader in CNC and printing machines like CNC routers, large format printers, vinyl cutters, laser cutters, plasma cutters, DTF printers, and many more. Visit am.co.za showrooms in Sunny Rock, Joburg, and Montague Gardens, Cape Town, or WhatsApp hi to 060 600 6000 for more. am.co.za. Achievement matters.